Hi, Tex. How are you?
All right.
Okay, good, good.
Ben, thanks for being here. If you need something, let me know. But if I understand correctly, I think contract should be being signed at some point today. And then the initial disbursement should go out next week, according to the information I have. Hi, Reshma. Dominic, good evening to you, sir.
Hello there. Good morning for you, I guess.
Funny how that works, huh?
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Sebastian. I'm going to give this just another few minutes here. I think time is moving a little bit faster in my head than it is in reality, but see if we can't get a few more to pop in. All right, we're filling out. Good deal. Let's check, make sure boarding is left down below. Jordan down below. Okay. Coming on up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Cool. Well, let's get started. Welcome to the Open Source Committee meeting. Today is July 23rd, 2026. Looks like we are still awaiting a special guest, so we'll kind of move through a little bit slower on some things, or we'll move the agenda around, whatever we need to do. Again, I do apologize that got out here late, so sorry about that, but just been working away at stuff, so. Maybe we'll try something new. Does anybody have anything that they wish to bring up that hasn't been under discussion, didn't make the agenda, questions, comments, concerns? Would love to have an opportunity to hear from, I'd love to give an opportunity to hear from you all directly on how you're feeling, where you're at. It's a little bit of check-in. I normally don't like these, but if you have something, speak up.
I got quickly, Tex. Maybe it's already known, but our budget of OSC did not go through, right?
Correct.
Okay. Are we doing anything further than that? Any action there, or we missed the bus?
I won't know until next week. As of right now, nothing.
Okay.
When I say nothing, I mean as of right now, there's not a dedicated work stream for that. So we have still our 2025 Treasury funding. I hate to call that old; it's still active. but we're still working through that funding right now. So our priority should still be there. And then again, I'm going to try to figure out some information on what options we may have. And as soon as I know more, I will obviously relay that to you all so that we can start making some plans. Okay. So let me see. Go ahead.
I just want to mention something. Hi, everybody. I just want to mention something about Dominic commented in the OSC internal channel about how we could start choosing or distributing some tasks among the open source committee members and push some things we have pending in this moment. That could be a good way to push forward some things that we have pending in the list of tasks of the committee, right? I want to express my agreement about that kind of initiative, right? Could be we could. I understand that sometimes we don't have spare time to distribute in from our main activities, but maybe we can contribute. We, as committee members, we can start contributing, just choosing or selecting some task and make some contribution from there. And thanks, Dominic, for that contribution.
No problem.
Thank you.
That was the easy part, assigning the tasks, right?
Yeah, sort of. But it's the beginning, the starting point. Yeah, thanks a lot.
All righty. So I'm just realizing that I put the agenda up and then I messed it up, so my bad. Go back to here. I can go to the full view if you guys want. But basically, want to give a quick update. Statements of work. I've been in contact with both Matthew from Twig as well as Kola from Alan. They both had their statements of work in progress. I was hoping that I might have them to pass along to you all, but I do not yet. So as soon as I do have those, I will share them across. Should have probably done this a little bit differently. I will announce I'm going to be at Rare Evo next week, so I will be a little bit more out of pocket than usual, but I will still be watching things. So I'm available if you need me. As soon as I get these, even though I'll be traveling, I'll still get those across to you as quickly as I possibly can. So please, when you see them, make sure to give them a read over or once over and let us know what you think. On the Rare Evo topic, I'm basically supporting Intersect in this role here, but also for the community and open source, all the things as normal. If you have something specific as far as a question, concern, or something you might like to have shared at Rare Evo, please let me know. If you're attending and I or we don't know about it somehow, please let me know that as well. It'd be great to know that we're going to run into you, and there is actually a scheduled time for committees on both days. They're kind of split 3 and 4 or 4 and 4, but I will be at the booth both of those times for all committees. So if you have any questions, I guess across committee, let me know there as well. Okay, I will just move this forward then to Crypto EQ. We are joined by Spencer here today. I'm pulling this back up. We are still waiting on a slight revision to this here, but the numbers are still relatively close. What we're looking at as far as starting off, as opposed to a bespoke report, we're looking at what's called a Vantage report. The Vantage report would come in somewhere around 9,000, and then we would still be looking at the expanded distribution. Now, something that I was able to negotiate, or rather speak more with Spencer on, and he can allude to this here as well, is starting to look into the partnership and possibly even including a partnership discount here. So the numbers would actually be split 50-50, so 50% up front and 50% before the report is published. And that would be about $5,500 each payment, so a total of $11,000 as opposed to the $15,000 we were looking at for bespoke. So ramping that down. I want to bring Spencer up, let him introduce himself, because I know some of you may be new and may not have been here back in March the first time around. And then this is an open opportunity. If you have any questions, I didn't see any go in Discord, but if you have any questions, we've got the expert here. So now's your time to ask them if you have concerns.
Yeah. Good morning. Good morning to everyone. If you're onshore, and GM and the PM if you're offshore, right, overseas. I met several of you probably 3-4 months ago on one of the OSC calls. If you have not met me before, I'll give a quick intro. My name is Spencer Randall. I'm a co-founder at the research firm CryptoAQ. We launched our first product in 2020 and have been following and reporting on the space for coming on 6 years now. I've been in the space now for nearly a decade, but I was more of an individual investor, trader in the space in my earlier years, and I didn't go full-time in crypto until 2020. So CryptoAQ is my first company and startup. My second business we stood up in the bear market of 2022, which is a liquid token fund and asset management firm. So I wear two hats. I'm both the leader of a research firm that does objective reporting on the space, which is why I'm here today. And I'm also a chief investment officer at our fund and responsible for managing risk on a sleeve of liquid tokens and our core holdings, which are our major digital assets, like things like Cardano and Bitcoin and so on and so forth. So today we're talking about this proposal. When Tex and I first met at the North American Blockchain Summit in 2025, we talked about a lot of partnership ideas. So the screen you can see here is all of our ideas captured in one proposal. I understand that there's been some delays on funding coming through, and we are very flexible with our partners. So we've pared down the scope to not a bespoke report, but rather a vantage report, which is priced a little bit more comfortably, and we've kept the expanded distribution. So the new subtotal will be 12,000. So that's 9,000 for the vantage report and 3,000 for the expanded distribution. And then, given that Tex and I are about 2.5 hours away from each other, we've met in person multiple times for drinks, for dinner. We call you guys partners. And for partners, we'll offer a special discount, and that'll bring that subtotal down to what Tex just mentioned. So again, we're happy to meet you guys where you are. Be more flexible on the terms. This is something that you're not going to see from other research firms in the space. This is that extra mile that we go for our partners. I also don't think you'd see a lot of those folks, get on these calls at 8 a.m. with y'all, but this is my second one, and I'll be back again because we're here to help Intersect grow. This isn't just a one and done type of deal. We think very long term, and I'm happy to get more into the value proposition of the report itself, or answer any questions you may have. But that's the high level update on the cost and where we'd like to kick this off.
Hi, welcome. Just for everyone in the call, including me, could you give this rundown of what the Vantage report would cover, just on a high level, and how we can use this ecosystem intelligence? How do you view, as a professional in this area, how it is utilized the best, so that we have an idea?
Excellent questions. We covered some of this on our first call, but it has been months, so I'm happy to come back to it and refresh. So we're a research firm that provides 3 different report formats. We have our radar reports, which are best for emerging projects. That's usually standalone startups or individual projects that have a token attached. So think of like your emerging project out of an incubator. That's usually where we'll use a radar report. We get a lot of radar report requests from other funds that want to do due diligence on emerging assets in the space. The format I'm recommending here is the Vantage report. We also have the bespoke report, which is where we started, which is entirely open-ended. We literally write that scope together. So in doing some more discovery with Tex at our recent meeting earlier this month, in between where I am and where he lives, we met up and we hashed it out. And we think the Vantage report is actually the right fit. And the scope of a Vantage report for us is limited to some kind of sector or ecosystem. So it is a little bit more limited in a bespoke report because it's not as open-ended. But we thought that what would be fantastic to center the report around would be why Cardano, and give you guys something that could really differentiate and help spell out Cardano's specific edge. Paring that down even more, we were thinking about addressing why specifically use Haskell as a language. So the idea and spirit of the Vantage report will be one authored by our analysts, reviewed by OSC and your peers, that explains in plain English why you would choose the Cardano ecosystem and why would you choose to write in Haskell over other options in the competitive landscape. So that's the tip of the spear for the report that Tex and I workshopped last time we sat down. Now, how would you use this report once it's completed? We would take it to our distribution partners and we would promote it ourselves on all of our networks and on our web app itself. And it could be used to help onboard the next builder. It could be used to help onboard the next liquid fund like ourselves that want to find emerging projects in the space and want to bring liquidity and support that growth. So when you distribute a report with us, it goes out to our entire network. We have over 1 billion in management within our network, meaning that other liquid funds that are active in the space would be re-initiated or learning about Cardano and Haskell for the first time. So I hope that addresses your question, Bora, and I'm happy to answer any follow-on questions.
Oh, amazing. Exactly what I want to hear. It was clear enough. Sorry, I think I wasn't in the first call. Maybe that's why I might have not got the context, but it was helpful.
Yeah, it always helps to go back through things, even if you weren't on the first call. It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, Bora, in your opinion, Haskell is the best approach to promote? Just asking you because you have you are under the management of the developer portal, right? So maybe I'm agree. We need this kind of reporting, but I'm just thinking on because we know Haskell is not the best friendly way to bring new developers and new builders to the ecosystem. I don't know. Just asking.
Yeah.
Kind of.
What Tex, do you want?
Sorry. Go ahead.
Tex, you want to take that, or do you want me to go ahead?
I'll jump in real quick. I mean, the why Haskell, I'll fully take on was my idea. The goal behind that is that one of the biggest struggles that we had with integrating the paid open source model in 2025, one of the biggest critiques that we will still face as we report on the maintainer retainer program is the lack of functional knowledge around Haskell. And we have the same issues that arose and came out of the developer advocates. And I'd really love to hear Bora's opinion on this too, so I don't want to talk for too long. But at the end of the day, the Haskell node is what is the primary, and any other node in any other language is still going to have to integrate with the Haskell ledger. So it would be really important in my mind for us to have something that says, hey, why did we build this on Haskell? Why do we need people to continue to maintain and develop on the Haskell node alongside building the other pieces? So really wanted this to further establish the foundation for Cardano as an open source project is the goal of the why Haskell. But Bora, yes, would love you to chime in on this here.
I see. I definitely acknowledge this as a priority too. Like I got over time to understand the importance of this, and if we think long term, we have to first distinguish between our onboarding pipelines, right? And in more concrete words, we have to distinguish between Cardano, the network, and all the open source repositories that keep up this infrastructure alive, which are all based on Haskell. And emerging solutions will come out in alternative ecosystems, but we can only create solutions for today. That's the need. And Cardano, the network for developers, for application layer. Of course, there we would argue about, okay, we should optimize for maybe more friendly developer onboarding. We should talk more about emerging solutions, what are existing in alternative ecosystems, like from different languages, etc. But this report, I like that we have the chance to just focus on this onboarding pipeline for Haskell, and we have people, or at least have a channel to get people through to keep up the network's core maintainers, or create this training pipeline that we talked about, this maintainer retainer program. I think it all comes down together and loops. Like it closes the circle here. I think it's nice that it is dedicated to Haskell, even if I believe that most of the developers that we are onboarding will be on the application layer. This is a need, right? We need people to be Cardano X Haskell and who want to work on core tech.
I'm going to build on that and bring it back to one of the items that Tex and I initially discussed, which is we host events in the greater Houston area every single month in person. We're the longest standing and largest community in the greater Houston area for crypto. If you're not familiar with the Houston area, it's home to about 8 million people. It's the fourth largest metro in the country, and there's over 26 Fortune 500 companies headquartered here. And every single time we host an event, I have developers attend the event to learn more. And so to put very plainly a way I could use this report to help OSC day to day, in onboarding new developers, you need to have a place for them to land. You need to have a front door to your ecosystem. And one of the reasons we founded Crypto EQ is when we wanted to learn about anything, we had to go to 20 different tabs, a bunch of different apps, just to piece it all together and get a 360 view of what was going on with any given project or thing or token or company. And with this report, it could be that front door for a new builder to learn about why they should choose you guys, Cardano, Haskell, over the competitive landscape. And in reviewing what the work that's happened prior and talking to Tex, I'm not able to find that simple, plainly stated, succinct explanation that would, if I were, say, a green developer wanting to jump in, that would help me make that next decision. So that's where we're coming from with the scope. And the scope isn't chiseled in stone, right? Our reporting is meant to be collaborative. We want your input. The deeper we get into our work, there'll be more checkpoints with your team to review drafts. So there'll be points along the way where we can refine, reshape. And ultimately, our goal is to have a report at the end of the day that we're both excited to promote and stand behind and have live on our web app for the next year. I also see a question about metrics. It's normal and customary for us to deliver a post-campaign debrief where we aggregate the metrics for both our own digital marketing channels and our partners. So that question came from Dominic, and the answer is yes.
Or did you have other thoughts? I know I saw your hand there for a second.
Yeah, just want to make the distinction again clear, or how I view it. The application layer, so when builders come to Cardano to build their business on Cardano and not necessarily build Cardano, they usually are not onboarded through the Haskell pipeline anymore. That's actually a stigma we are trying to break. The network moved on to different and newer languages and ecosystem tooling that are more popular. Is 100% the case. Like, I think any of the developer I know who builds a smart contract or builds a business does not use Haskell. They might use it without knowing in their toolchain, But the distinction here is that Haskell is required for Cardano for core infrastructure. So the Cardano node and anything that is in the periphery of it. That's why I'm agreeing that we keep this focused for Haskell, because it's still required. But it is important to still say that you don't need to know Haskell to build on Cardano. If we have a report at the end of the day that's kind of still distilled down to that message, it's years of work that we are trying to break away from.
Understood.
Aura, can I read that back to you and make sure that I'm understanding and tracking you? And then also, if I am, I'll illustrate a really important point. So what you're saying is a distinction the report can make is that Haskell is still core infrastructure and Cardano could not function today without it. And that in choosing Cardano, you are choosing to rely and trust Haskell as a language. But if you are a new builder today, to make the decision to build on Cardano, you're acknowledging that trust, but the tools that you use to build something for, say, your startup will not require you to know Haskell. Is that
100%? Yeah, and that has been the case for the last 3 to 4 years, I would say, reliably, right? So that's why I tried to make this distinction between Cardano the network and Cardano the infrastructure that we offer to builders. So if you're building a smart contract, you don't write your smart contract with Haskell anymore.
Yeah, and I wonder, how many builders latch on to that, and how, because that could be, part of the value proposition here is who's shouting that from the rooftops, right? Who's shouting that you don't have to know Haskell, you don't have to be intimidated by that. You can build in this language instead. It's more accessible, more user friendly today than it was in the past. But we're still relying on Haskell for the infrastructure itself. I wonder how many builders have shied away because they're intimidated by that misconception, right? So
that I see as value prop as well here.
Yeah.
So just for if I may share here, the entry point for developers on Cardano, as we are trying to converge onto, is this portal. So this is, you mentioned that it has been a pain point. This is not an ecosystem intelligence or a report that you would read as someone from outside. This is for developer onboarding. This website is developer portal, and it actually showcases everything you can build on, or hopefully over time we are iterating for it to get better. But you will quickly realize that there is no Haskell there, almost none. You won't see that because that is a distinction between the application layer and the network itself. So it's not core tech. We are not onboarding people who, it's two different onboarding pipelines. We need people to keep up the Haskell network infrastructure, but if you're a developer and want to build on Cardano, you don't need to be on core tech, just like Ethereum or any other ecosystems, right? You don't need to work on the node itself. That's an entirely different line of work and different skill sets as well. But we can iterate over time. I think it's easier once it's not as abstract to say, give feedback also.
Yeah, right. I think we have some other items in the agenda, but I feel that we are agree with the general details, right? We can go to later to Discord and start to refine some things, but this was a good conversation, in my opinion. If you want, you can continue with the agenda, or maybe. Thanks, Spencer, for coming and share with us, especially for our new members in the committee. That was amazing.
Appreciate you guys having me back. And Tex, you want me to go ahead and drop off, or?
You can stick around, or you can drop off if you need to go. Whichever works for you. We're gonna continue on.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Put out a poll just to confirm that we have an approval here for this. That's more so for my records, but approve Vantage report and expanded distribution. I put distro, but y'all probably wouldn't like that. By crypto EQ. Question. Yes. No. Abstain. Hopefully no abstains, but you know, if there are any. All right. Thanks, Sebastian. We'll get back to business here. Yeah, this one's going to be rather heavy. All right. Paid open source model program updates. A lot of this is going to come from me, but questions are welcome. So throw up a hand, stop me at any point, let me know, and we'll go from there. First one up on the list here is travel and events. So this program is complete. It is all the way across the line. We did put out the final report. It is on the Gitbook if you haven't seen it. I do believe I shared it across the Discord channel. I tried to keep you guys in the loop at the same time that I was submitting all the documentation for it. But that, yeah, that final milestone has been submitted and should be withdrawn to ensure that everything is properly paid for within the next couple of days or week or so. I believe it's actually going to be withdrawn tomorrow. So I can't put the official full rubber stamp on it yet, but basically that one's done. There's nothing else that we need to do for that program. The developer advocate program. So we are still in the final reporting stage. I was speaking with Olivier this morning, and looks like he's going to give some thought and some input towards the report. I've also advised him that he can work with Bernard, who's helped in compiling the most recent 2 reports, so the Q4 and the Q1. Invite anybody else that is interested to, of course, help out and participate and comment as you feel appropriate. But basically what that report is going to be is a consolidation of our comments and approvals of all of the milestone tasks that are on that project board under Open Source Office. If you have more questions, if you'd like to be involved, if we need to segment at all who's doing what in that report, let me know. As I will be away next week, I can't necessarily push to just get this done and out, but I would like to have everything buttoned up by the middle of August for this so that we're not running too many things to the end of the month. But as you're going to see as we go through here, there's going to be a pretty high level of reporting phase. So be on the lookout for documents, and please go in there and share your comments accordingly. Some of it is going to be just literally opinionated review stuff. So the tweaks that we might see would just be, hey, there was this element of this program that I don't think is properly represented, and here's how we need to do that. That would really be the comments that I would expect to see, or of course, fixing any technical or, I don't want to say technical, but clerical errors in terms of like typing and things like that. So again, developer advocates, we're just on the final reporting stages, and then that program will also be closed out. Tooling sustainability. I left this one as just ongoing. I am going to try to conduct a little bit of a audit against this particular budget to see what all we have drawn down and what all we have essentially contracted out, and I'll run that through the various proposals. So the MLabs proposals are actually being signed currently, and we expect that they get their first payment next week. Delivery, I believe, for both of those, I didn't check both of them with my eyes now that I remember, but I believe it's August through October for both of those, or up to 6 months, I think was part of that as well. Olivier, before the end of August, but I'd like to get it done mid-month if possible on developer advocates. Yeah. So when I say ongoing for tooling sustainability, I would still consider this open. If you're aware of a tool that may still be in need of support, please don't hesitate to have them apply through the form, and we can definitely still have that conversation. But again, I'm going to try to get you guys some stricter numbers on what we have available. And these two are going to be partnered together here. I'll move on to maintainer retainer. I know I'm mixing topics, so I really do apologize, but with tooling and maintainer retainer, I may actually be putting through a change to the way that the milestones are structured. The goal is to have what we know we're going to spend, or what we know we can feasibly get signed under contract by September, basically in our hands, not locked behind a smart contract. Anything else will be locked behind a smart contract, but we won't have a use for it, and that'll be returned to the Treasury. So I'm going to work on those calculations, and then also those changes to the smart contracts to ensure that at the end of the day, come September 1st, 15th, or 20th, whatever day it is in September, I'm going to work that out with the finance team, that by that date, we've submitted all required evidence to have as much cash as we need to have on hand. The rest of it we can let go back, because we'll have reached the 12 months since we had access to those funds. And then we'll just be delivering on tooling and maintainer retainer at that point. As far as an actual maintainer retainer update, I have onboarding complete with an asterisk. Everyone has been advised as to how to onboard to the platform, the Andamio platform. Where I stand right now, I am pending 4 people to register. So that's the last hiccup that I have right now, but I'm getting down to the nitty-gritty of pinging them individually to push that across the line. I'm actually very hopeful to get their month 1 tasks for at least the new cohort up by the end of, before I go to Las Vegas for Aribo. And I hope to also get the milestones up for the other maintainers as well, to catch up. They should be in the middle or concluding month 4 right now. So they've got 3 milestones that I have to put up and get them taken care of on. So there's a little bit of an administrative backlog there. But yeah, so we're still working, we're moving. All right, incident management program. So Mike has left Intersect. So the security incident officer that was hired under the incident management program by the open source committee, there's no longer a person serving in that role. I'm still waiting on final confirmations as far as fees and that budget line altogether, but basically the entirety of that budget was consumed between January and middle of July here. That actually was expected. Now, Mike did choose to leave for personal reasons, had nothing to do with the fact that contract was running out. If contract did run out, as far as the money that we had, Intersect was willing to support in that capacity, and obviously Intersect has chosen to take on the program. So we should still see an incident officer. Again, I'm still going to be working out the clarifications as to what role the OSC plays in oversight with that. In any capacity, but I will let you know as I get updates. But yeah, we just got to get to basically all of the reporting out for this program so that we can pull the money in, because the money has already been spent. Because it was a people issue, or people concern, people matter, I should say, payments were made directly to Mike despite milestone drawdowns for the program here. So again, we do just need to get final reporting out for having had an incident manager. That way we can properly show that we paid for that position for this period of time. Okay. The last one here is bug bounty. This one is also in the final reporting stage, and I did learn some information yesterday that puts us in a position where we may actually need to reimburse this program. We talked previously, and I don't remember that we've called it in a vote that's actually been finalized here, but the accelerator program basically never got around to going out. We do still have an issue where we haven't actually drawn down those funds, and I'm still pushing that on the back end here as well. But in reality, I did find out that on the processing side, as far as payments are concerned, certain payments were made in fiat and were not properly reimbursed in an immediate fashion in ADA. Now, as much as that may not be the fault of OSC, myself, anything like that, at the end of the day, it is still a cost that does need to be paid. there's only a certain timeline, or rather not much of a timeline, that we could wait on things like that. So I still need to figure out exactly what the final number is when the reimbursements in ADA from our wallet are done for the payments that were made in fiat. So I'm going to get some final numbers there, but essentially this program is out of funding. And so just do need to, I will put this up as a poll so I can share this, but do need to confirm that we are okay to close the bug bounty program again due to running out of funding. So.
And just to confirm, the bug bounty program is being taken over by Intersect directly, right?
Yes, moving forward, Intersect will relaunch the bug bounty program. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And again, same as incident management there, I will figure out what role the OSC plays in oversight and management of that program. So. Okay. That's a lot. Obviously, yes, as Sebastian said earlier, and as Dominic has put in the Discord there's some suggestions on getting yourself assigned to the different tasks and programs here. With travel and events being complete, developer advocates on final reporting, I mean, it's just a few pieces here where we do need some support to step in and kind of know who we can go and talk to. Would love to leave this as open communication here. What questions do you all have as committee members here? Is there anything that's keeping you from participating? Anything that we can do to help make your contributions easier? What questions do you have about anything that I explained? Because I went through it kind of quickly and I mixed a couple of topics. I didn't mean to, but they are all intertwined in some ways. I'm going to pipe down and I'd love to hear from y'all.
Yeah, as I assigned myself on ClickUp for the bug bounty program, but I see that's no longer going to be necessary. So I think I'll focus specifically on the maintainer retainer. And is there anything we should be aware of as far as like funding or budget for maintainer retainer program, or is that something we see that's going to be around for some time?
So great question. As I mentioned earlier, and I recognize this may not have been clear, what I'm going to do with the maintainer retainer program is work to ensure that we have any and all funding that is needed stored in the open source committee wallet. So basically, we've already drawn down on a number of milestones, and we have a good headway on that. But I'm rather confident I don't think we have enough ADA in there to cover the 12-month contracts for everybody that we have enrolled into the program. Based on the timeline or contracting constraints for access to the Andamio platform, we do have fixed terms and fixed amounts that can be calculated there. And so that is my goal, is to figure out what that number is, make sure that that is in, again, the OSC wallet. So funding should be protected, but that's an active work item for me right now.
Okay. And another question. So as far as, I think we currently have 2 applications. What's the process for scheduling interviews and such, and how can I get involved with that?
For maintainer?
Yes, I saw there's a couple, I think 2 applications for people who were interested that I don't think we got to yet as to-dos. So
I hadn't seen that, so let me take a look. Okay. So I did jump the gun as I've done a review on the June date, but the push was good because it's taken a while on the backside to get things running. What I can do is reach out. I won't be available for interviews next week, so it would be the week after. This would have to move pretty quickly, just like it did before.
yeah, what I'm saying is I can help in that process. I just don't know what the process is fully.
Gotcha. I don't think my calendar is fully blocked, so I'll just send it out open-ended. But actually, we have 3 weeks. So we just need to get interviews and then have them assigned. Assigned and hopefully contracted. Well, hopefully, no, they would need to be contracted before the 21st or by the 21st. So signing on those days. So we would need to complete our interviews next week or the week after, and then get to project interviews and go from there. So I will put that on my list. I'll get the email sent out for them to, well, actually, if you want to help, so I need to. Can you give me a couple of slots for interview that would make sense for you, Dominic?
Yeah, and your Texas time, right?
I am, yeah.
Okay.
But you might have a little bit more flexibility, Sebastian. I know you're normally present at those. How are your mornings?
Yeah, I can make a space for those meetings, those interviews.
Yeah, and I can give some ranges as far as times that I'm available to make it easier.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, if you just drop that for me, either in Discord or in DM, what I will do is I will send an email out to the applicants, and we will see if we can't get an interview scheduled here again next week or the week after, because I don't anticipate them scheduling something for tomorrow. So
Right.
but no, that's a great call out. Thank you for looking.
Yeah, thank you. Looking forward to contributing there.
Any other questions? Any other committee member? Any other program? Somebody I haven't heard from today? Somebody we haven't heard from today?
Looking forward, if take the Bounty, for example, in this case, and the incident management. No, I'm in my mind. I have in this moment the Bounty program, right? Because we made some investment in GitHub, for example, preparing the tooling for launching this program, to support this program. That closing entails some clear commitment in the future from Intersect to reopen the program, because as a Cardano ecosystem, we need that kind of program for security reasons, for contribution reasons, for growth reasons mainly. So we are discussing today about closing it, but that doesn't mean that we don't need that program in some way, shape, or form, right? That's what I have in my mind in this moment.
Yeah, the decision here is just so that we can notify any other parties that funding is currently on pause or unconfirmed. So award or reward may be desired for certain reporters, but the OSC will not be paying for it, is really what this decision is calling out.
Yeah. Okay, thanks a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So this bug bounty ending is not directly equaling to there is no disclosure mechanism to report vulnerabilities in Cardano, right? Like that's what technical steering committee does. Also, if I'm not wrong.
So the technical steering committee, they're made aware in some cases. They aren't specifically engaged when it comes to security, other than having some technical experts that can provide insight from time to time. But yeah, the important note is that the mechanisms are not being shut down in any way. It's literally just that from the 2025 Treasury withdrawal, the OSC is not able to provide any additional funding for bug bounties, and that's what we mean by the closure of this program. Jordan, Paul, Reshma, thoughts on anything here?
No thoughts in particular.
All righty. We do still have a few minutes left. I did notice a few, or at least one developer advocate popping in. I don't know if there's anything relevant that you guys wanted to present. Again, I know what we are beyond the contract phase, but we definitely appreciate you all still stepping in. Any updates or comments from you all before we close?
Nothing in specific. It's just that I am still part of the community here in Nairobi, helping wherever I can. Looking forward to attending more of the weekly meetings starting probably next week. I'll be back for the working group sessions. I haven't been able to join for the past 2 weeks, but starting from next week, I think I'll resume and we'll be around for whoever joins the call just to have the discussions we've been having.
Roger that.
From my end, I'm still on a break. Probably resume the beginning of next month with the working group sessions and the project spotlights. I'm very saddened to hear that the program will not be going on. I think it is one of the best programs so far out of Intersect, in that in the exposure it gives to the advocates and the open door policy it has for new people who would want to join Intersect.
Yeah, absolutely great feedback there. So we would still love to continue running the developer advocate program. Unfortunately, it is something that does require funding in this case, just to make sure that you all are properly compensated for. I say you all, and the next future you alls are properly compensated for the asks that are assigned here. So as soon as we might get an opportunity to look at something for budget again, hopefully it is before the next budget cycle, but again, I will find out some more information and report back. We'll definitely look. I don't want to speak too much for the committee, but I believe that is, if anything, the primary program, or top 1 or 2 programs that we would want to be reinstating as quickly as possible. So. Alrighty. Please keep an eye on Discord. Please go into ClickUp and assign yourself to some tasks. Please keep an eye out for reports as they come through. Again, hopefully a lot of stuff when you guys see it is final draft stuff. But if you have questions that we haven't answered, that I haven't answered, please let me know. I don't know how to help if you don't tell me. And we'll go from there. But that'll be the end of today's meeting if nobody has anything else. Olivier.
Thank you. So it's just to maybe to ask you, it's possible so that we have these points on which are we going to work. These tasks you've been splitting, I hope it will be nice to have them on Discord so that everyone, even those who went in here and they knows what are we going to do the next weeks before we meet again.
And who was it that you wanted to have on the call?
No, but I don't know if everyone is here, but even though we are here, it would be nice we have like this point or tasks we have to do here. Like a summary, some lines in the group here and the Discord. They can
I'm not sure I'm understanding what you're asking, but I mean, the call is open. Our calls are put on YouTube as well. So realistically, anybody can come at any time. The information we share, it's if it's protected, it's in the Discord. If it's not in the Discord and it's discussed in meeting, it's not protected information. So share it with anybody who may need to know about it.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question, but a bit maybe unrelated to what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Is there a way, like if you have a smart contract repository or something, that Intersect can how do I say this, can source for auditing of some sorts?
Um.
In what regard?
Yeah.
Let's say I have a repository. I've built my own repository, but then it's not yet audited, and you'd want to launch on mainnet. Auditing can be very expensive for many developers. So I'm just asking, like, given the reach that Intersect has, is it possible for them to organize like a development company to do auditing for the individual?
Darn it, I think we lost Ben. What I would suggest is reaching out to some of the known auditors in the community. D Quadrant, I know Sunday occasionally does some audits. TX Pipe has done audits. M Labs again may be open to doing audits as well. I would check through that route. And again, I mean,
Yeah,
I might
but
also call that a tooling thing. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
yes, to confirm, there's no easily accessible like audit path for like individuals or developers, I think is the main point.
Yeah. It's in progress. I don't know if that team continue to work on that. But yeah, that's true. Auditability is a pain in the arse. But I feel the intention is to facilitate the process to the builders in some way. For a moment, I think the paid and private services around it are the option. But I'm thinking that, from since months ago, years ago, one of the things that the community has in mind is to facilitate this in some way. I think some new efforts are being on the pipe, but I don't know if that is that work. I'm thinking of the working group that is working, that was working on that. But yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I have some thoughts on that I can share another time, but don't have much time today left for me.
Gotcha. Yeah, we're right at the end here, but the last thing that I would say on that is that that's sounding a lot like tooling, sounding a lot like necessary tooling, and we haven't gotten overloaded with applications. I'll double check to make sure there's nothing else. Obviously, before I'm away for a little bit, but if that's something that somebody's already got working in some capacity, or if you go out to other auditors and they have a way to say, here's the basics, and you're able to compile that and put it together, let's get a tooling proposal together and see what we can do. And again, maybe you just have that some level of volunteer maintainership, whatever. We can definitely talk about that more, but maybe in the OSC public channel, Haroon, if you want to pick that up.
Okay, sure. Sure.
All right. Well, thanks everybody, and have a great day. Reach out to me if you need me.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.